This is a place.
This is the place.
This is a place. We want to talk about. This is a place.
Thank you for listening to This is a Place podcast. My name is Brandon, and I'm joined by a man who says that the knife is his favorite utensil, Nate.
That's because the spoon and the fork just don't cut it.
Oh,
Snap.
but what about the spork? I mean, that's just 2 in 1.
Still doesn't cut it.
Well, we are joined by others who might have opinions on utensils. We're joined today by the American Fork Podcast.
Well, that's right.
Don't get us started on utensils.
It is a fork.
It's like a trigger
Get it?
word.
But it's an American
Utensils
fork.
are a trigger word?
Uh-huh.
Well, then I got
It's just a joke.
We've got Phil,
Here's Phil.
and we've got Jeff and Jake, right?
That's true.
Yep.
All of those were true. Yeah.
Yep.
Is this the most guests we've had on a podcast before, Nate?
I think it's our
We've had
record.
3 before.
We
We
have?
had the Messing with Mormons. We had all 3 of them.
Good point.
Oh, yeah.
So we need one more.
3's our limit.
Well, we also have an air conditioner.
I think
So-
with Messin and Mormons, it'd only be 2.5 with CD.
That's true.
He's the half.
Hopefully he's listening.
I hope he is too.
Well, thanks for joining us and also for hosting us because we are in your guys' studio. This seems to be a common theme with us. We like to use other people's studio to eventually create our own someday, right?
It's a good way to do it.
But this studio is awesome. It feels like we're, what would you guys say?
A treehouse
In a
made by
treehouse.
It is a
Yes.
tree-
near 40-year-olds.
I feel like we're getting ready to go play like cops and robbers or,
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're planning
or
our
war.
D&D game.
That's-
And that's because you climbed up rickety stairs and parted a blanket to get in here.
It's
Yeah.
awesome.
It's our clubhouse.
We have
Yeah.
a drawbridge
It really is.
outside.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
It's called 6 Foot Studios.
So
I like it.
welcome.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah.
Well, we decided, you guys claim to be the experts of
Uh-oh.
American Fork.
Wait, did you say that?
Yeah, I did.
I might have set us up for that. Yeah.
I just wanted to get on another podcast. So.
Yep, experts it is.
They don't even really have a podcast.
But I mean, it's the American Fork Podcast, so of course we have to just talk about American Fork because that's where you all are from.
That's right.
You know the ins and outs, and especially what it's like right now since y'all live there.
Well, yeah, we all grew up together there. I would say as early as 10 or 12 for some of us, and then some a little bit later, maybe 14, 15. So quite a while. But since none of us live there anymore, but all of
Don't
us.
tell him that.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
I
I'm
was-
just kidding.
I was
Oh,
trying to
that's
keep
right.
with your same.
The cat's out of the bag.
but I do think most of our, well, maybe not, but some of our parents still do live
Yeah.
there.
It's home.
There's still ties.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
And our podcast is called American Forked
Yep.
because we're all kind of from there.
Because we're the experts on American Fork.
Exactly.
Right.
Yep.
Exactly.
So what subjects or what do you guys talk about on your podcast?
That's a good question. What do you
We
think?
talk about, here's the idea. We talk about basically whatever comes up. We always go over the news. We like to have guests on to have different opinions out there and talk. But what we've realized is that America is forked. It's split in different directions. And there's always these opposing sides that set up a fight, right? Left and right, or, it just doesn't matter. Somehow there's always like sides to be on. And so we realize that it's forked, and we would like to actually sit down and come together to some degree. We don't always agree on everything. We grew up the same, and so there's a lot of stuff we agree on, but we always want people to come on with different opinions and talk to us about it and show people that we can come together, no matter how forked the situation is.
Because it can be pretty forked up.
Yeah.
Big time.
We initially were going to have the name American Fork Yourself.
Yep.
That's what I was pushing for, but it kind of got shut down.
And it still ended up being an explicit podcast. Sorry.
Yeah. So
We were not explicit until
Oh, we had a guy we went and it was at the very beginning. He had a restaurant, chicken and waffles. I think that's what he had. Cool guy. But we went and met with him, and every other word was something he shouldn't say. When we met with him the first time, we're like, oh boy, this is going to be an editing nightmare.
Get the E.
But
And you just gave up.
no, he did good
Oh.
when he came on.
Oh,
when he
okay.
actually came, it was when we went and met him before the
Right.
having him record. But we thought for sure it was just going to be a nightmare to edit.
Yeah.
He just
but-
turned it off for the show.
Yeah,
That's good.
Well, we kind of went back and forth about that early on, and I was the only one editing. And after one episode with our buddy Trent on, I was like, "There's no way."
Yeah.
Like,
I'm not going to edit for 40 hours a week.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, we just ended up
Not
being
until we get paid.
explicit. And I've noticed that like, if I change one episode to be not explicit, it won't post for some reason. And I think it's because maybe I don't know if you guys have tried to do that, have some not be and some not be, but
Huh.
Well, we had all the way until just like 6 episodes ago, no explicit, and then we had one. The guy just swore a ton, and
yeah,
I didn't edit it. And now here we are in
Oh.
in the E land.
yeah.
But I don't mark it explicit for everyone, but we still have that because we've
Because
had
you
one.
had one episode.
Oh, yeah.
I see.
You're scarred for
Yeah.
life. It's the Scarlet E.
the
Yep, they call
Scarlet
it.
E.
Be for everyone.
That's what I always say.
The last time we were on your guys' episode, we were with 2 of you. Now there's 3 of us, and I know you have more people that participate
Yeah.
from time to time that are part of the podcast. So how many are there in total? How did you guys all come together to do this?
Well, there's total that's been on. There's been like 8 or 10 of us,
Wow.
but
When we started early days in the podcast, we would have 7 or 8 at once.
yeah, and it was pretty hectic, but it was fun for us. I don't think it was as fun for the listener because they can't.
Couldn't keep
just
up.
so much going on.
Yeah,
How do you follow?
where you
Not
just
sure who to
we're just
listen to or who's talking.
and we were also not as I'm not saying we're super polished now, but we're better at not like talking.
We're
over
less
each other.
unpolished.
Yeah.
than
We're
Exactly.
shinier than before.
So
less rusty.
but yeah, they're a bunch of friends. We all grew up together. Most of us grew up kind of in the same deacons quorum, going to church in American Fork.
Mhm.
Now that we're older, like Jeff was saying, a bunch of the guys have left the church. Some have stayed in. Some guys are super Democrat. Some are super Republican. So that's how we feel like we kind of can show like, hey, look, we're still friends, even
Right.
though we've got way opposing views.
If we can, given the dynamics that we have in our group, if we can get along, then why can't anyone else?
Yeah. And we say that, but then we don't always get along
Yeah.
either. So it's funny how that works. But
So you got along at the beginning of the podcast. Now some people have left because you guys just aren't friends anymore, right?
pretty much, yeah.
It's
Yeah,
destroyed the group.
Exactly. It's destroyed the group.
Yep.
We've offended many people, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, we recently offended some people pretty terribly.
It was so awesome.
Yeah, and I want to apologize for that. After we realized we didn't edit it, we went in and edited it.
Oh, you
out,
mean
but-
one of our recent episodes?
Yeah, the one that.
But
Yeah.
see, and this brings up a point to now take over your podcast and just say whatever we want to. But the idea is that don't just be upset and offended about it. Why don't I would invite that person to come on to the podcast and put us in our place. Tell us that we're jerks. Because if we're acting like jerks, we need to be pointed. That needs to be pointed out to us.
Or you'll just keep being jerks.
Exactly. And so by just being offended and going off on your merry way doesn't really produce anything, doesn't produce any change, doesn't produce any effects. And I think that's the problem nowadays is that people come together when they disagree, they just fight about it and then they just hate each other and they stop talking to each other and they stop being friends with each other. What they should be doing is talking more about it until they come to some kind of understanding, at least not agree, but an understanding of the other person, you know?
How does that make you feel?
Exactly.
More of that.
More listening. I'm gonna just quiet now. Sorry, Brandon.
No, it's okay. I mean, I really enjoy the podcast. I think you guys have a good, like you said, mix of differing opinions and voices. And so, I mean, I definitely would say check out the American Forked podcast.
Well, thank you.
Great group of guys.
Thank you.
And Phil, I've been enjoying the music.
Oh, I'm glad you do.
Really, I mean, we've tried to do some music here and there, but I don't think to the level that you do.
Yeah.
We might need to take some tips.
Well, and I don't put a lot of effort into it. It's usually like Oh, I got a post in an hour.
Phil-
what can I?
Phil
What can
thinks
I write really quick?
Yeah.
Phil thinks he's being humble right now, and he's bragging. Like you don't put much effort into it, but it sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Phil, you're talented. Just
he
get
has
over,
he has
get
a
over it.
wide array of genres in his brain.
Just-
Yeah, as you can tell.
So you're gonna write a song for this episode for us?
Yeah. No problem.
In 10 minutes, he'll write it.
We got a
put it
couple days before we'll put this one out, so we'll give you some time.
Okay.
Send you a schedule.
36 hours.
36
It's
hours.
actually really helpful when, like, sometimes these guys are like, do like a Caribbean something. and for some reason, that just like makes it so much easier because I can. So, yeah, if you give me like a little to go off
Have the
of,
genre in mind.
Yeah.
What are you thinking, Nate?
It just reminds me, is it Jimmy Fallon that does that, where he takes someone from the audience, gets all their information on him, then tells the band what you just said? Like,
Yeah.
dude, is that you?
The Roots crew, man, they
The
can do
Roots.
that on the
Yeah.
fly. They're so
Yeah.
good.
Oh, yeah, they're awesome. But
So
yeah.
Caribbean style.
I'm thinking
think it's what-
Celtic.
Celtic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ooh,
I want death metal.
bagpipes.
Death
We We're
metal.
just talking about death metal in the car, so maybe we should go with death,
Death
metal.
metal's so fun. To
Can you do
'cause
Celtic death metal?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do that.
Let's just lay some bagpipes over the screams and
Yeah.
squeals. I like
love
that.
it.
I like it. Just be prepared.
Well, I think we should get to the topic at hand, gentlemen. Let's talk about American Fork. Tell us about your stomping ground, where you were all created.
What is a cool fact of American Fork, Phil?
The canyon used to be cool. and
And
now
then-
it's not.
And then they put in a toll booth.
No, now it's just full of like 8 million people a day.
Oh, that's true.
But American Fork Canyon is like, that's why I really loved growing up in American Fork, because as we got a little older, just cruise right up the canyon and you're in national forest immediately. And it can be beautiful up there certain times of year.
And you could camp without having to set a reservation a year in advance.
You could just go anywhere, like to one of the campgrounds or go find a spot. That's impossible now, but
Still one of the most beautiful places
yeah,
on earth.
that's
That
great.
canyon is amazing.
American Fork Canyon is still special in some regards. Like you
Yeah.
said, not quite what it used to be, but still
Yeah.
beautiful.
Well, yeah, it is, and a lot of people would go there. And we still we'll cruise through every once in a while, but we just don't camp there anymore because it's unless you reserve. Like I think your family does Timpanuki.
Yeah, as soon as reservations are open, we reserve for 4th of July weekend
Yeah,
and get a spot, but they go pretty quick.
yeah. So
Uh,
that's like if you're gonna go to American Fork and do something, the canyon, Timpanogos Cave is
Cave's
great.
awesome. Yeah.
Hiking Timpanogos is like a must do for anyone's bucket list if you live in Utah.
It's not been
Uh,
checked off of mine yet.
Oh yeah,
Me neither.
you got to do it. It's
Yeah.
it's one of the most beautiful hikes there are. So
And if you can, do it to watch the sunrise
yeah,
once you're up there. So you leave at like 1, 2 in the morning at base, hike up, get there before sunrise, and it's amazing.
oh yeah,
Or go up for the 24th or 4th of July when the fireworks are
fireworks.
on.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
you can see right down in the stadium a fire. You can see them going off all over the valley. That's a fun one to do too.
That'd be cool.
So, but American Fork City is like a city that some people founded in like
People live there.
1860.
1860. No, I should have researched this more because I have a lot of relatives who are like big wigs in American Fork, like the dynasty of American Fork, so they would know everything about it.
Well, here's a quick quiz. Do you know what it was called before American Fork?
Lake City.
All right.
Oh, that's right, because Bolter told us that.
No, when I was in 3rd grade, I took American Fork
Oh,
history.
that's
We've
right.
covered that
American
one.
Fork history?
Yeah.
There really was a class that I took I think it was third. No, it couldn't have been 3rd grade. It was 4th or 5th grade
Oh yeah.
in elementary school, though. Am I right? Was it
I
Lake
mean,
City?
I did Utah history in that grade,
Yeah.
but you guys got just straight American Fork
Yeah.
history.
No, but
That's
I mean,
awesome.
was I right? Was it Lake City?
Oh yeah, yeah,
It
you're
is.
right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Hey,
Whoa.
10 points.
You were right.
Yep.
Oh, but it is right on the lake too.
I'll tell you why they changed the name.
Tell
do you
us.
have that information?
Wikipedia does, so
Dude,
I
am
kind of
so
do.
Cool. It was
Say it,
basically
Jeff.
they have Lake City because American Fork was on Utah Lake, and
Uh-huh.
then already well established was Salt Lake City, and the mail was getting crossed. So they're having problems getting mail delivered in Lake City in Utah County and Salt Lake City in Salt Lake County. And so they're like, yeah, probably change their name.
Yeah.
Let's name our city after a different lake, the American Fork Lake.
After utensil. Yes.
Exactly. And what a terrible lake it has turned out to be.
Utah Lake.
Yeah.
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 It used to be like when we were younger, we would go like jet skiing on
Uh-huh.
Utah Lake.
Go
I'd go
water
swimming.
skiing.
Yeah.
I go swimming.
Go swim out there. Now you get near it and you're like, ooh.
Yeah.
Right before my buddy left, he was a little bit older than me on his mission. We went to Utah Lake in the afternoon and water skied, and it was still snow in the mountains that we went up and night skied at Brighton.
Oh, that's so
Yeah.
cool.
So, but yeah, it was cold, but it was fun. And the fun thing about Utah Lake is that you fall over, right? And you can just stand up and go, I'm right here,
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
I'm okay.
Exactly.
You have
Well-
to try to drown. And you
Yeah.
don't.
Well, and that's actually why they say now it's so dangerous, because people get stuck in the mud
Oh,
standing in it out there, and then the waves start coming, and that's how
that makes sense.
they had several people drown last year with life jackets on
And they
that
also,
were standing up and couldn't get out of the mud. And
That's so weird.
yeah,
and there's also some like bacteria or something in the water that's
Yeah.
making people sick and possibly killing.
yep.
Some
And-
people-
and it's full of like 1 billion carp. and-
Yeah.
Yeah.
An invasive
Yeah.
fish. I have a theory because Geneva Steel was right on the lake and they used to dump stuff in there.
Yeah.
And I always thought it was ruining the lake, but now I'm thinking it kept the carp down, probably killed them. It probably kept the algae down, the blooms, and it probably kept I don't know, slag instead of mud at the bottom.
Yeah,
And so you
no-
could stand up and walk
Sheet
around.
metal down there.
Yeah, it's
instead
just a sheet metal. But now it's gone. It's all eroding away.
So maybe it kept people away too for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely was an eyesore, Geneva.
Yeah, for sure. Now,
Now
it's a
the
whole,
lake's the eyesore.
Yeah, now it's a whole city.
That's the whole city
Yeah.
Geneva
we're
is.
talking about.
How long ago did Geneva get torn down? Do you guys remember?
Oh, it would have been so.
So it
when
was-
we were in high school, right? Is when it was.
It was
Yes.
totally there when I left on my mission in 2004. When I came back in 2006, it was completely gone, down to the dirt, nothing. So it was just that-
2005 ish.
somewhere in that 2 years.
Yeah.
it all happened. So, and I think they closed the factory in 2001. For the most part, I think they had some people going in and out, but that place was pretty much closed down, which is apparently kind of a national issue, because we're running out of steel mills, and that was like a strategic. This is a fact that I know from my grandparents and things, is Geneva Steel was like a strategic steel mill for our strategic defense. That's why they put it in Utah instead of one of the coasts, because it couldn't be bombed during World War II, or it'd be a lot harder to. And that was a major producer of steel for the war and all those things. So it employed people for a long time.
A little bit of regret, maybe. that
Yeah.
They got rid of it.
Yeah.
American Fork has steel days because of that steel. So
Oh, yeah.
the celebration is steel days.
Yeah, whatever you call your day thing in your town where the carnival comes, that's steel days for American Fork.
Yep.
Strawberry days and pancake days and
Pioneer days,
Raspberry
rodeo
days.
Taylorsville days for us.
Taylorsville days.
Taylorsville. Yeah.
That's right.
Going back to the old days a little bit more, did you know there was a feud between American Fork and Lehigh?
Isn't there still?
How long
the
ago?
high schools or
No, this is olden times, 1870s times.
oh, I didn't know that.
So there was a sugar feud. So it says American Fork had a literal social feud with the town of Lehigh due to the Utah Sugar Company choosing Lehigh as the factory building site in 1890 instead of American Fork.
And is that what ended up being Lehigh Roller Mills?
I believe so.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
now they just do flour, apparently, or maybe they do sugar.
They
No,
do
they do
pancake mix.
Pancake mix
Oh,
and
yeah.
muffin mix and
All sugar related things.
Yeah. So they
Kevin-
must have started out just sugar. You're saying?
Yeah.
Kevin Bacon mix.
Yeah. I like that mix.
You know that mill is where Footloose was filmed.
You know, there's more even American Fork connections to that
Ooh,
movie.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They also filmed the
The dance scene
was it the dance? Not the dance scene,
at
I
the
don't
Apollo
think.
Dance
Was it?
Center. in American Fork.
Oh, was that American Fork?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
cool.
still there.
Also, the church scene in the front porch when he's on the with his family, Kevin Bacon, and then the gas station scene. So a couple scenes from Footloose in American Fork.
I don't think I've seen Footloose, but now I need to watch it.
The other scene that was filmed there is when Patrick Swayze was doing the pottery thing.
Oh, really?
No, I'm totally making it up. In Ghost.
That's,
In Ghost,
that's
yeah.
not Footloose.
That was, oh, I'm mixing up movies. Never mind then. Sorry, just ignore me.
That's okay. Sandlot, though. There's some Sandlot scenes
Sandlot,
filmed there. The
Swam in the pond where they would, jump off the rope swing or whatever.
Yeah,
The pond that they swam in.
I have a slight side story about that because I went to a place in Salt Lake here called Firehouse Subs. Or wait,
Mhm.
it's not Firehouse Subs. It's Ladder 59 or something like that. It's over in like Rose Park. It's
right.
been there forever.
Oh, right.
But it's like
ice cream cones and all that good stuff.
Yeah, it's a firehouse themed place to go get a burger and ice cream or whatever, right? So the Sandlot was filmed in Utah. A lot of it was filmed in American Fork, but there was also the baseball field. The famous baseball field was made in Salt Lake City,
Right.
Right.
and they were going to tear it down. And this restaurant owner purchased it, or salvaged it, I should say, and they put it back up. So it's actually still up. It's just in the different location. And you can actually go and take pictures there and
Oh, like they took
And
the
see the baseball
fencing
field.
down and the bases.
the signs that were up and like you just have to go see
so
it.
it was like 4 things.
It was one thing. It was just a sign.
This piece of fence, these bases.
But it's big enough that the lady that was working there said that the cast has a reunion every 4 years or something, and they actually go to that field and
Oh,
they play
really?
baseball.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? That's
Mhm.
cool.
That is cool.
Yeah,
That'd be
wanna
fun to watch.
Say they're coming back this year.
They are. I think it's next year.
Is it next year?
Oh, they
Yeah.
announce it and people go.
I know
watch
they're
and stuff?
advertising it already, but
Yeah, I think COVID messed up their schedule. Like they may have. Anyway, that's what the lady behind the lady that gave me my
Well,
hamburger
that's pretty
said.
cool. That'd
yeah,
be
we
fun.
we had Yaya on our episode about a year ago.
Oh
The
wow,
guy who played Yaya.
Oh yeah,
that's cool.
We only had to pay $5 for it.
That's true. Is that how that's how we got
Yeah,
a hold of him, right?
Yeah, on Cameo. I reached out to him like, "Hey, want to be on our episode?" And he's like, "Sure." So
That's cool.
that's $5 we spent on the podcast.
Yeah, that is cool.
So, but a lot of those scenes were filmed in American Fork too.
Yeah.
The carnival scene was filmed at Steel Days.
Did they preserve the locations where they threw up?
No, no, but that's it's actually the park just north of where the library is now.
It's Robinson Park, right?
Probably.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah. But I remember that because a buddy of mine happened to be at the carnival that night. They were filming.
Oh wow.
So, and also another. Maybe you were going to go this way. The movie Bats was filmed.
Say that again.
Bats with what's that guy's name?
It's an old horror show about
Yeah.
bats.
It's not too old.
Yes, it is.
Lou Diamond Phillips is in it,
Because we all know who.
and it's
that
like a.
is.
I
It's
don't know who that is.
I think isn't that the guy that La Bamba? Isn't that Lou Diamond Phillips? La 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 Bamba. The guy that plays La
I
Bamba.
know
Oh,
he
yeah,
has
I
a
know who
song,
Lou
but
Diamond
I don't-
Phillips
Yeah.
is. Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, he's in a horror movie called Bats, and it's filmed in the Harrington School that's right next to the police department, which is like a big building that nobody's done anything with for like 100 years. It's just sat there. So it's like commonly believed to be haunted or something because nobody's seen the inside of it for decades.
Like, how old would you say the movie is?
Like early 2000s, late
1999.
90s. Oh, 99. There you go. So I haven't even seen it.
I was gonna ask if it was a
Me
good
neither.
movie, if it's worth it.
Yeah, no.
It's got a 17% Rotten Tomatoes. So don't know if it's the
Yeah, anytime a movie's called Bats or Spiders or
That's
Snakes.
not
Without
Batman.
man after.
Yeah. It's probably not very good.
Well, you brought up his Harrington School or whatever that school's called, but I believe American Fork had one of the first public schools either in the nation or west of the Mississippi or something like that.
I think it was the first in Utah.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah.
Well,
and
it's way less cool than I thought.
it might be Forbes Elementary where I went to school, but I'm not sure on that.
It was. There was a. You mean the original American Fork High School?
No, I mean the first public school in the state of Utah,
Oh.
I believe, was in American Fork.
I thought it was the first American Fork High School, or the original one, which is south down the hill from the rec center, the pool.
Oh, I guess we should know more about American Fork.
I know my mom
before
went
we-
to high school there,
Yeah.
and then they moved to the location where they're at now on Caveman Boulevard.
I can tell you that the first free public historical or public school there's a historical landmark in American Fork, at least. So I'm thinking that there was actually a school that was the first public school, free public school, which I thought that was redundant, but
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it was the first federally funded, like, because obviously the Mormons came here, set their own schools up, but the first public
Like
school,
recognized by the.
yeah, was in American Fork or something.
And I'm assuming you guys all went to American Fork High School.
We did.
We did.
well, we didn't really go all the time, but
Yeah.
we
were-
should
You've
have.
been
We
to
were
American
enrolled.
Fork High School.
We have been there.
Some of us
before.
attended more than others,
Yeah,
Yep.
and some of us graduated
Mhm.
on time.
On time.
more
I
than
think we all
others.
graduated, right?
Yeah, kind
No,
of. Except for me.
no. Remember Trent's birthday several years after graduation year. I gave him a diploma.
Oh, that's that you
Oh.
printed off on your.
I
On
put
like
my name.
Windows
I
95.
I put his name over mine.
With some tape.
Yeah, and then
That's
printed it
funny.
out on nice paper. Made it look.
But we
official.
did go to American Fork, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we were just talking on our podcast that they just said American Fork just won more titles. Their high school won more titles this year than any in history.
Well, they won basketball, right?
Basketball, I think tennis,
Baseball?
and baseball.
Football did
and-
well. They didn't go all the way. I think they were third place in the state.
Their cross country is
Yeah.
always ridiculous.
Cross country is always the best, and marching band is always incredibly good.
Yeah.
Yeah, or something. So
Lots of titles.
yeah,
I remember watching the basketball championship, and after they won, one of the kids on American Fork grabbed the net or the rim and pulled himself up, and then stood on
Yeah.
the rim
Oh, really?
to like.
well they
I'm like, that's pretty gutsy.
well they talked about. So I went to their commencement today because my brother just graduated from American Fork.
Congrats,
They
brother.
Yeah. And they told that story. And the reason he did that is because 30 years ago this year, his dad won the title for basketball and did the same thing.
That's
Oh.
Climbed
hilarious.
up on the rim. So, like, and the principal told that story and everyone was laughing about it. But I thought that was pretty cool.
He
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
get suspended or anything like
Yeah,
that.
no, they seem to be happy about it. So,
Yeah.
So,
It-
yeah. Yeah,
That's
I
interesting.
apparently climbed up and, like, stood up
Yeah,
there,
he's
didn't he?
standing on the rim.
Yeah, and then jumped down. Like,
Mhm.
pretty
That's
wild.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
So were you guys all the same graduating year?
Nope.
We're like 1 year apart. So like half are in 1 year and half
02
are,
to 03.
yeah.
Kind of split amongst our. We still have an very active. We communicate all the time. Group of friends, many of whom, all of whom have been on the podcast at least once, and I would say half and half between
Yeah.
02 and 03 graduated.
I thought it was like almost all. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But yeah, 02 and 03, we all graduated or should have.
Yeah.
We're supposed to.
I mean, if you're on the same
That was
Deacon's
the
quorum,
assigned year
Exactly.
to graduate.
Yeah,
kind of the 2 year
senior
between
year was 02 for
Yeah.
most of us.
Exactly.
two.
Yeah. And in fact, our deacons quorum, I think when we first went in, it was 2 deacons quorums.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I don't think they do that much anymore. But
I gotta say, it's a cool place to grow up. I love it. I wouldn't change anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
We got to drive go karts and dirt bikes, and the cops would stop us and just be like, "Dude, we used to hang out at this house," or what? Like the cops were normal. Like I don't know, they were just cool people, and it had a small town feel to it when we were there, and I liked that.
yeah, there was only a Fred Meyer and an Albertsons
Yeah,
those were the 2 grocery stores in
and
town.
maybe a McDonald's.
and if you wanted anything after like 11 o'clock at night or 10 o'clock at night, you had to go to the Hart's truck stop.
Yeah.
That was the only place that would stay open.
That's where our driving instructor would stop every time, is the Hearts.
Oh, yeah.
To get a drink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was his
Barks
stop.
Red Cream. They sell that
Yeah.
there in the
Yeah.
fountain.
Yeah.
Not many places do.
Caffeine-free Pepsi.
Probably. Well, it's now legal, right, to drink caffeine in Utah County?
It has to be unleaded.
It's still illegal.
No,
It's- well, BYU, right? They
now
They-
sell
now sell.
caffeinated beverages at BYU.
It's just funny to go to the games and see like advertisements for real
For
Coke.
Coke and
Yeah.
stuff. And I've wondered if they serve it in the MTC now too,
That's a good question.
because
It's a little too far.
we always had to smuggle it in. But
Dude, you got some Mountain Dew?
yeah, but yeah, it was a great place to grow up. It had a small town feel, and now it's ruined. So don't move there. Don't go there.
Avoid it at all costs.
especially the canyon. Don't.
It's really busy now. Like you get in the suburbs, it's pretty slow like it used to be. But as soon as you get on like Main Street, it's just like I feel like it's a ton of traffic, as much
Yeah.
as anywhere you go in Utah.
Yep.
But
right.
It's
I
expanded
think
a lot.
the whole anything within like 90 minutes of Salt Lake City, there's really no small towns anymore.
Yeah.
Right. They just
Mhm.
don't exist,
yeah,
unfortunately.
so
You have to get out like past Eagle Mountain, because Eagle Mountain now is big.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh my
Right.
gosh.
And then
in Saratoga,
past
and-
Heber, if you go east, past
Yeah.
Heber and Park City, east of Heber and Park City, or west of Eagle Mountain. Everything else is a lot of people.
It's
Yep.
hard to find the small towns.
yeah, they're filling up.
So I guess which one is the superior fork though, out of American Fork and Spanish Fork?
What the hell do you think we'd say?
Like Spanish Forks, hand down.
Well, let's just take
I
the
guess
mascots.
More of the question is you need to defend yourself and
Yeah.
say why.
Wait,
better.
Go back to the mascot
Oh, I was gonna
thing.
say let's just take the mascots. You got a Spanish Don, which is Spanish Fork, and you've got a caveman. Who's gonna win? And I don't know the answer to that. But if we had a claymation like celebrity death match,
It'd be the Spanish Don.
You think
He's probably
so?
got some better weapons than the caveman.
and some armor or something, and a horse, and
more
the caveman.
refined palate, better diet.
Yeah, and like shooting. The caveman's screwed. Let's be honest.
do you know it literally,
Caveman's cooler.
it literally
Yeah.
took me to last year to realize that the caveman was a tribute to Timpanogos Cave. I went through my
Oh.
whole like high school career and growing up there not putting the two together.
Yeah,
I was just like, oh, caveman, cool. Never even thought about it, but that's why.
I think there's only
Okay,
one.
I always
other high
thought it was
school
because
in
the
country that's-
Flintstones. Because wasn't there a mascot with like a guy carrying a club on it, and it looked like Fred Flintstone, kind of?
I legitimately did not even think about it.
Oh,
Yep.
anyway,
You
But-
said there's only one other one in the country.
If I remember correctly, I know there's one other American Fork. I think it's in Georgia, and there's one other high school that has caveman as the mascot. If I remember correctly, but I
That's-
can't remember. I
that's
think it's in
pretty good.
California somewhere.
that makes it pretty rare. Because isn't there like a Columbia in every state?
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
So I'm trying to find what does the mascot look like when he comes out of the games.
Dude, we didn't really have one of those. It was just like Steve
Yeah.
from physics.
Steve, whichever one
With-
grew the most facial hair.
Yeah, with the
In
leopard
the
print
school.
like toga. on.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
so-
we didn't have like an official dress up mascot.
Didn't
Yeah.
look like that guy.
No,
No.
dude, that
No.
that mascot and that flag, the new one, is so cool.
It looks
We
like
were
a
not that
a tough
cool.
mountain man. Ours was like a cartoon.
Fred Flintstone.
I club a man.
yeah.
That one.
oh, we did have that,
was
one.
yeah. Actually, that was probably the most revolutionary.
Oh
that
yeah.
that actually became the drawn mascot when we were in high school.
Yeah.
But before
looks like
that, I feel
He-Man.
like before that it was like Fred Flintstone and all cartoon.
But what really represented American Fork High School was just the block A.
Yeah.
The block A letter. So if it was on your
Right.
shirt or on your hat or
Mhm.
whatever, that was the symbol
It's
of
cool to
American
put it
Fork.
on the back window of your car.
Yeah. That's
And
right.
It was a common place for Lone Peak. So when they built Lone Peak High School, it became our rival. When before it was either PG or Lehigh, because
because of
Lone
the
Peak-
sugar factory.
Lone Peak took half of American Fork's student base, and
Right.
so it was Lone Peak AF. That was the rivalry, and it was common for before a Lone Peak American Fork game. someone from Lone Peak would come and paint the big red A outside the football field gold,
Yeah.
and then we would have to quickly repaint it red before anyone saw it,
And
that
also burn
happened
an
all the
A
time.
into their field.
Or
Yeah.
yeah, we
Something.
that was occurred. as
It was
well.
a pretty heated rivalry. My dad was a cop back then, like even before I was at school. And whenever there was a Lone Peak American Fork game, they were like ramped up. Like, the
Okay.
SWAT team
a
was
lot of
there.
officers
SWAT
there at the
team.
games.
Yeah. Because it got pretty. They had a lot of fights break out. So I don't think as much when we were in school, but like this is probably right after it split. They were like, ugh.
Like the stuff you see in the movies.
Yeah, it was just like I don't know if you ever watched Parks and Rec.
I've seen a few.
Between Pawnee and
Yeah, Pawnee and Eagleton
Oh,
is
yeah.
the town, but it's the same thing. Like the wealthier people split off into their own town, which was Lone Peak or
Kinda like Friday
Highland
Night Lights.
Alpine. Yeah, and then yeah, exactly, same kind of thing. So it's kind of funny. But
To be fair, that is the highest median home value is in Utah, from my understanding. Maybe it was in the Wasatch Front, excluding Park City.
well, I think it's actually Draper now is the highest, but I could
Oh.
be wrong. You would know.
I want to say
probably.
like Alpine.
Alpine.
Yeah. So
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Yeah,
maybe.
Alpine. The students would drive like brand new Jeeps and
Yeah.
Toyota Tacoma, brand new pickup trucks, and really Porsches and stuff. And
Remember, we graduated the same year as Brent Brown's kids. Was it Brent Brown that had the
Mhm.
Toyota dealership in
Yeah, he
Provo?
bends over backwards.
Yeah, he would.
Yep.
These kids, I'm not joking. They'd show up with like the newest Supra, like in high school, like all decked out, like it was Fast and Furiated. And
and we all drove like $200 Pintos and stuff.
I had like a Geo Prism with 230,000 miles on it.
Yeah, that's what I drove.
Yeah.
Geo Prism. Yeah,
It was the greatest car ever.
it really was.
I wish I'd driven one of those.
I drove
Yeah.
it through a river and it still ran.
yeah, Silver Lake. Between,
Yep,
yeah.
Silver Lake Flats. I
Yeah.
drove right through it. Like, well, I guess I made it.
We had to go camping up on the other side of the creek.
That's right. We had to.
I remember that now.
Yeah, we got pictures
We
of
did
it.
such dumb things in vehicles.
Yeah, like steal them.
Hmm?
Filled.
That
Oh, we're
didn't
not talking
happen.
about that. If you steal your dad's car, that doesn't.
Oh,
count,
that's yeah. That
Okay.
doesn't count.
right? Okay. Never mind then.
Do we have any idea why American Fork and Spanish Fork, like why fork?
Is there a fork in Spanish fork?
So Bolter explained this on one of our podcasts, and I forgot.
Here's what I think it is, and just for the record, Spanish Fork and American Fork are pretty far apart. Like
Right.
they're quite far apart. There's no common rivers or anything like that.
And you guys don't
Maybe
hate
up
each
in
other
the-
like you did with Lone Peak.
No.
No.
No, yeah,
No.
it's like North Salt Lake to Bluffdale
Right.
distance wise.
Right.
Yeah, it's pretty far away. But the fork part of it has to do with the water systems. So there's a fork in the river or the creek or whatever we call it, because a river is like Mississippi. There's no such thing as a river here, it seems like. But the small body of water that flows,
More like a crick.
The running water.
yeah, a creek, a crack, a crick, whatever. But it's the American fork of that. And I think it does fork off other ways too. Like the water that comes out of American Fork Canyon anyway. So it has to do with the waterways, basically.
Yeah, that must be it. I always, in a more racist way, thought that it was because like white settlers settled in
Gosh.
American Fork and like Hispanic people in the Spanish Fork, but that was way off.
It wouldn't be Hispanic though. It'd be like Spanish,
well,
like
Well,
from
no,
Spain,
like-
conquistadors.
like Mexico.
Like Dons.
Or yeah,
No.
like Dons. Yeah,
Dons
that's why
are,
they're the
Dons are not from
Dons.
Mexico.
Oh, I get it. Or yeah, it could have been Spain from. Well, I'm saying back then though, people
Yeah.
would have labeled them the Spanish people, whether
Yeah.
they were from Spain or not.
Right.
I actually don't
So,
know, but
Yeah,
I think it has to do with the water.
I think you're right.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I would go to places like Spanish Fork or American Fork, and I'd want to see the fork,
Yeah.
like a big fork sticking
A
out of the
gold-
ground.
A golden
Yeah.
fork at the museum in American Fork.
Right.
Does
Similar
it-
to when I go to like Sugar House when I was a kid, I was looking for that sugar house.
The House of Sugar.
Yeah. So that's what they need to do is in each of these cities, with names like Fork, Sugar House,
Yeah.
put that thing that kid was looking for, like me.
Whether it's relevant to historically relevant or not
Doesn't matter.
No.
Just need that fork in that house made of sugar.
Yeah, but-
Or I think they need to make a needless fork in the freeway that heads out into Utah Lake in a loop, kind of, so everyone knows when they hit it. Oh, we
There's
hit the
the fork.
American Fork.
I think it's a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
We should do it.
Okay.
Forks. We can do a lake of salt in the city.
Right.
Why not? Iodized salt.
There you go.
Okay.
I like it. But we did have an episode where we talked about an incident in Spanish Fork with some prominent rock stars that passed through there. The Rage Against the Machine performed a concert there.
In Spanish Fork?
They did.
Yep, at their Spanish
The
Fork
rodeo.
days. Rodeo.
Oh, yeah.
I vaguely remember something about this. What
That-
happened there?
That's so weird that because when I think about those things, it's usually like older bands that are playing at them, and the fact that Rage Against the Machine is playing at one makes me feel old.
They're
Yeah.
still banned from playing there, if you guys were curious.
Oh, they're banned from
Yeah,
playing there
because
they played there, and
it was an
didn't go well?
accident that they got booked in Spanish Fork, and it created this whole hysteria throughout the whole city.
Like the city went on lockdown, basically.
Yeah, they thought like devils were going to be unleashed throughout the city,
Oh,
something like
really?
that.
That's so cool.
It was a whole thing.
Did they
but-
think they were booking an American Fork? I mean, how do you accidentally book in Spanish Fork?
I think they were just trying to book somewhere in Spanish Forks. Like, sure, you can come through here without vetting the band,
Yeah.
and then you just come throw them in the middle of Utah County.
That sounds
Didn't go over well.
amazing.
There's
When did this happen? Was it?
The
Oh, shoot.
late '90s.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Why didn't we
When they
know
were
about
big.
it? Yeah,
That's so
it wasn't
cool.
like Beach Boys came through. It was like when they were big.
it seems like something we should have been at.
Well, let me find out. I should know off the top of my head, but it was on September 11th. In
Of
looks like
course.
1994. I think. Is what it
Oh,
was.
so we were.
Yeah, we were
kids.
little.
Yeah.
4th grade.
But I'm sure your parents locked their doors that night just
Yeah,
because they were
probably.
hearing what was going on down the road.
They got onto Facebook and they were like, "Oh crap, I better lock my door." It's
was-
1994.
I was
Oh,
living
yeah.
in Clovis, California at the time.
Oh, there you go.
But I guess my segue with that is there any notable people or things that have happened in American Fork to that level?
Well, I can tell you that we know Daniel Sermon is the guitarist for Imagine Dragons.
Commonly known as Wayne Sermon. Which,
Yeah, and we went to high school with him, grew up with him. He's a good friend of mine.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So he's a pretty famous one that's shot out of there.
And Andrew, what was his name?
Andrew Trollman
Oh yeah,
was their original drummer, also a
Yeah.
buddy. He's a good guy too.
so got Michaela Skinner, who's a Olympic silver medalist.
Oh, I didn't
She was
know
in
that.
the most recent Olympics.
Winter.
Gary Coleman lived in near Spanish Fork in Springville.
Oh, did he?
Gary Herbert's from American Fork,
You're talking about Willis.
former governor.
Currently lives in Orem, though. I didn't know he was
Um,
from American Fork, though.
That's what it says on here.
Another famous thing that's more of a downer.
Here we go.
Oh, boy.
On Hulu right now, there's a series called Under the Banner of Heaven, which is about the Lafferty murders, which took place in American Fork, where the guy felt like God told him to murder his sister-in-law and her baby. So pretty grim.
That's pretty cool, Phil. Thanks for bringing it up.
Yeah. But
Noteworthy right
Starring
now.
Andrew Garfield, who was Spider-Man.
Spider-Man's in
who
it.
played
Yeah.
alongside Robert Downey Jr.
Oh, in that one movie.
as a different person, a different Spider-Man. So
Are we-
pretty much.
Oh. I thought we were playing the
Just
seven
trying to make-
steps to Kevin Bacon.
We're trying to, we get to Kevin Bacon very easily.
Yeah,
talking
Kevin
about American
Bacon
Fork.
spent time in American Fork on his movie, so that's one degree of Kevin Bacon.
No, but that happened in American Fork. But in case you're wondering, they never reference American Fork in the show.
It's
not
it's
yet,
kind of a
right?
bummer.
Not yet. So it's all filmed in Canada, which like what the heck?
They didn't even film it in American Fork.
Yeah, can you believe that?
What if the last scene of that whole series, a guy just looks at the camera and goes, "These guys were American Forked."
That'd be awesome.
That'd be great.
And our logo pops up.
Yeah. We start handing out Chacos.
Yeah.
That's a
Love it.
random reference. Local celebrity, I say he's kind of a celebrity, is Stephen Hatch from Hatch Family Chocolates. He's got an awesome chocolate shop up in the avenues in Salt Lake. He's from American Fork.
Like, oh,
He's
okay.
not the Stevens hot chocolate guy,
That's what I was thinking.
No, but no, he's not.
which
but
is also from northern Utah.
he had a show called The Littlest Chocolatiers or something
Yeah.
like that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Huh.
on TLC or HGTV. Just kidding. That's a joke.
Hallmark.
He'd be on our podcast, but I don't think he can make it up our stairs.
Yeah, our treehouse is too tall. Sorry, Steven. I love you.
We'll go to his place though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it lists quite a few on Wikipedia, some that I don't know, but I've also got Mia Love, who was a senator, representative, I guess.
Oh, she's from American Fork?
D. Todd Christofferson,
Oh, that's a
notable church
The general authority.
That's an apostle.
authority. And Brandon Sanderson, fantasy author.
He lives pretty close to my in-laws.
He also didn't he step in and write some of the books for Mission into Time or not
The Wheel of Time.
The Wheel of Time.
He finished the Wheel of Time.
That's
series.
right. Because I've seen his name.
But he's more notable for like the Stormlight Archive and
That's right.
some of those other ones. But
You know, I have a
high fantasy
Oh, yeah.
novels.
he's a gajillionaire. He owns like a neighborhood basically. It's all a neighborhood. But he owns like 5 or 6 houses in that neighborhood. One's like his office, one's his house.
They're all connected underground
No, but
because that would be cool.
yeah, that would be
Is this in American Fork?
pretty sure. Or Lehigh. I don't know where it is exactly.
He's
Utah.
got a ton of podcasts too, so
Does he?
Out maybe someday he'll come on ours.
Yeah.
Since he's in the podcast world, you know.
Yeah.
Even though we don't talk about anything pertinent to books or what he does.
Yeah.
But
I'm worried I'd phrase a sentence incorrectly.
He
and
could
just, like,
probably give you a lot better
be stupid.
American Fork episode.
yeah.
So
hey, I'm impressed. You guys said you didn't do research, you didn't do any prep before him, but
A lot of stuff
you
has
guys
come
know your
to mind.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
well, yeah, we've lived there. I mean, me or my family's lived there since I was 5. And like I said, even though I didn't live there when I was born there. And I've got family there that goes way back. So it's kind of, like we said, it's home.
It's kind of a different time too. Like we actually went out and got connected to community and we knew our neighbors and we hung out and, played night games with each other. And
Right.
talked to old people and,
played laser tag.
it just, it wasn't like we observed things from our room and from our computers, Not
Yeah,
till,
you just don't see that anymore. Like you said, kids, when I was growing up, sports was my thing. So you would just get on your bike and ride around the neighborhood till you found somebody playing
Yeah.
some game.
Playing
So
football
you
on
just
the
say, can
street.
I join? And you just hopped in. But
Yeah.
you don't see kids doing that much anymore.
No.
So
Yeah, we wouldn't even
And
call
would you,
each other.
Would you even let your kids do that?
that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird, huh?
Yeah, go out and wander around and find someone to play with.
Just be
But,
home.
but we should, though, right? I mean,
Yeah.
why
I
don't
always
we?
tell my kids too,
Yeah.
Do ya?
and they're like stare at me like, "What are you talking about?"
It's on my phone.
Oh, my daughter does. It's awesome. Like we have a
Yeah.
little
The
posse
iPad.
that runs around our neighborhood. I'm like, that's what I want. That's
Yeah.
what we had
Yeah.
growing up. And so I got her one of those watches so I can see where she's at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm like, don't even tell me where you're going. Just go. Don't
Yeah.
even ask.
Have
Just
fun.
go. Go
Yeah.
outside. Be outside all the
But-
time.
Get in trouble.
And I'm not trying to criticize you, but you still have the tether of that watch. And it's just a weird mentality shift.
It's more laziness so that when we do need her home, we don't have to
just
go
buzz
around the
it.
neighbor. We used to send our boys out. Okay, go find your
Yeah.
sister,
yeah.
Or the parents would yell. That was a common occurrence. The son
All
started
right.
yelling, Steven, come home.
or my
Like,
dad had a
Phil,
unique whistle.
Your
Yeah.
dad could whistle. You could hear it from anywhere in American Fork.
Yeah. Yep.
And Spanish for
And
it.
it
We
still
knew-
gives me like anxiety.
When you hear it,
we were at some like family thing or something, and he whistled, and like he saw that I like turned right
You
away, and he
cringed.
laughed
Yeah.
about it, and I was like,
Was it to call you home or you're in trouble?
to call you home.
it triggered
Okay.
you.
But
Yes,
usually
yes,
that
Dad.
led to being in trouble.
Okay.
Yeah, usually.
Yeah.
If I wasn't home already, I
By
was in
dinner,
trouble.
yeah.
So
I would leave for school and not come back till like 8 or 9 o'clock at night. I'm talking like 6th grade, 5th grade, because there's a creek on the way home that I'd walk
Oh.
by. You can't stop. You have to stop. If there's water flowing, you got to build a boat. You got to do
You
something.
got to splash.
And I wouldn't just lose
Throw
track of time.
rocks.
And I'd come home and my parents would be like, you need to check in with us next time. I'm like, oh, okay. And that's about it.
yeah,
Different time.
different time. It was great. Now we need to move to Canada,
I don't know. Mojave Desert somewhere.
wherever that's still happening. So, yeah,
Vernal.
it was a great place.
Yeah. Well, you think we've done it justice? You think we've covered American Fork?
I'll give you one little gem
Uh-oh.
at the end here. So if you want a good, fun trail to go on, we would call it the back fields. But if you go to Art Dye Park in American Fork,
Yeah.
go all the way up to the end, and there's like Frisbee golf places there now, but there's a bunch of trees back there, and back in there to the northeast is a trail, and that trail will take you all the way up on another trail. It's great to bike on or walk or run, and that'll take you all the way up to near Lone Peak, where there's a place called Adventure Learning Park,
That's right.
and they've got like a little pond lake there with these tiny little fish that will bite anything. So if you want to take your kids out and put pieces of leaf on a hook, they'll put it in the water and pull a fish out like immediately. Like
Yep.
It's a fun little spot, and that trail will actually take you from there and keep going all the way up to American Fork Canyon. But it's
By
kind
Cedar
of
Hills.
it's kind of a hidden, unmarked thing that I don't go to anymore. So I don't care if it gets filled up with people. So
we used to paintball every Saturday there.
yeah,
Yep.
it used to
For
be
our
just
missions.
just raw land, just
Dirt.
wilderness, pretty much. But most of it they've developed into like a grassy park and stuff.
Soccer fields and baseball diamonds now.
Yeah, but that trail's still tucked away back there. So
The best part of that trail, because there's a lot of cool trails like that in Salt Lake now, right? But the best part about that trail compared to the ones in Salt Lake is there's no homeless people living on it.
Right now.
yeah,
Not yet.
Not yet.
not yet.
You
But
just
after-
told them about it.
After this
Good job.
podcast.
There's a
Right.
lot of homeless people that listen to our podcast.
Where can we live
So-
next?
It's the primary target.
Exactly.
That's our target
That
audience.
sounds-
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Great.
Well, thanks, gentlemen, for coming on and again for hosting us here in your lovely studio.
You're
And,
welcome.
Yeah, anytime
check them out. American Forked, the D on the end.
with a D.
Bob's
You guys are the number one American Fork podcast, right?
We are the number
we are,
one.
yeah, we
Wow.
are the number one, original, and best, and number one list.
Are there other American Fork podcasts?
Oh, I started another one.
Oh,
Sorry.
did you?
Yeah.
But you're still number
It's
one.
just me
Yeah.
on it.
It's just us.
Thanks for listening to This Is a Place podcast.
See you next week.